she's sweet but a psycho, a little bit psycho. At night she's screaming, I'm on my mind.
So all I have as my very first thing was 2 days to sell a house? Question mark, exclamation mark.
Yeah. Yep. I know. They had to be quick with it. They had to get back. It was like, listen, you don't even know how much time has passed since they've been gone. So they were under pressure.
The anxiety that you gave me with that, they were like, I don't know how much time has passed. And I was like, excuse me? Oh my God.
Yeah.
How much time? They're going to catch a shitstorm, and we all know it. It's like 20 years has passed there. Queen is dead. Who even knows?
Yeah, wait till you see how the realm is.
No. Everything was like perfect, put together, and then you threw that and they're like, oh yeah, we don't know how long it's gonna be. Oh my gosh. So exciting. The other thing I have is I need a novella on Ethan turning into Azimuth.
Already planned.
Okay. That was a big huge spoiler.
Listen, it's already been in my, honestly, when I was writing Azimuth, I knew that I wanted to include a novella. And I had been thinking about his backstory as I was writing Dreamwalker. Because I think he's my favorite character.
Yes.
Oh my
Britt,
God.
I know you couldn't see, but my jaw's been dropped open for the past 45 seconds, just so you're fully aware.
No, that is exactly what I wanted. So that works out. Meeting over because I really am still curious about where you want to take him, like how his mind turned into. And I apologize for the intense spoilers, but how his mind turned into this.
Amber, I wanted him to give red flags. I wanted him to be very Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, which was my intention.
Well, when she gets the ick from him when they're in that that field, I was like, oh no. Because there's so many times in our chat when we just screamed, but she's only 17. Like times, because we're like, the red flags are intense. She's out here making out with people, and she's like, I don't know what I feel. And we're like, honey, what? You're feeling danger. Like,
do you remember being 17? You know what I mean? Like, you remember being 17.
And 17 in my life. No.
Right. And and you have when you like somebody, but you just completely ignore everything because you're like, maybe it'll get better. Maybe I can fix him. Maybe it'll be fine. You know what I mean? And right.
But Daddy, I love him.
Right.
Because I still am like,
now.
Cole is whatever.
I still have that mindset.
Do you think Cole is whatever?
Ethan is. He's where it's at, honey. He is going to get a villain redemption arc when I show up into this.
Girl, I'm going to take you.
Do you know
when I was moment out of this? It'll be a
when I was writing Ethan, I had Heath Ledger in my mind from A Knight's Tale. That's how I picture Ethan.
Oh my God.
Heath Ledger from A Knight's Tale.
Again, I can fix him. I don't see any problem with this.
Right.
We have a little come back.
What about his eyes?
Well, his eyes are based on my husband's, actually. Ethan's eyes are based on my husband's eyes. So my husband has blue eyes and they have yellow around the middle. And
that's how my eyes are.
Oh, that's amazing. No way. That's awesome. I mean, my husband's eyes, the yellow doesn't move, but he's also not like a demon. So
shame on you.
That you know of.
that I know of. I'm not sure. Maybe he is.
Has he taken you to a flower field? Have you been through a portal? You don't even know yet.
I have been to a flower field. Maybe he has taken me to a portal and I don't remember. No, if this is the portal where he took me, get me out.
I love to do that. Whenever it comes to portals, Ella is always like, peace out. And she doesn't give a shit. She's portal, she's like, adventure.
17.
And I noticed she had no hesitation when there's crackling in it. And she's like, all right, bye. And she just goes.
YOLO.
She's already been in some freaking nightmarish situations. So I get it if she's a little dampened. The danger is dampened.
Right.
This makes them worse.
So it's an Amber, me, Maggie situation. Azimuth. Got this. I can handle this.
Yes. It's fine.
So okay, serious time. Always want to know what your inspiration was for your book and how this story came about.
Okay, so when I was in high school, I actually started writing a book. So I had this idea of like what would happen if when you went to sleep, you woke up into a dream world and it was a completely separate world. And I actually, when I was in high school, I called it the realm of Hade. I don't know why. Don't ask me. No idea. But right. So then last year, NaNoWriMo happened and I was like, okay, it's finally time for me to write. Like it's time for me to actually publish a book. And I went back to my idea from when I was in high school because I really loved it. I just never brought it to life. So NaNoWriMo motivated me. I didn't like submit it to NaNoWriMo. I didn't like submit it anywhere. It was just for me personally. And I knew that I wasn't going to write a whole novel in a month. So I took that idea and plotted it out and then ran with it. And it just came. So, I mean, yeah, it was definitely from an idea that I had in high school. Yeah.
It. And the idea of the Dreamwalker getting into nightmares that end up kind of translating into our world and having that crossover all came to you in high school.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I really love the idea of like, I really love darker themes. Like Holly Black is one of my favorite authors. So I really enjoy darker themes, talking about like demons and fighting and, you know, things that are just a little bit darker, which is why like the beginning feels a little horror-esque. But yeah, I really wanted to bring something that had those darker elements, but still showed a hero's journey. So I used hero's journey for Ella's story. So
Yeah, the beginning was scary.
Yeah, it was
yes,
really
like
scary.
so like the Evamon was inspired by the girl from The Rings.
Yep, I can see that.
Terrifying.
Right. Yeah. Well, when you started in our chat talking about like, I think it was true crime or some scary movie, I was like, oh no, I haven't started it yet. No, that's not my jam.
Yeah, and I like the Freddy Krueger vibes where, you know, it's like, and I just thought about how cool would it be if you had somebody who, like the dream, like they woke up with the wound, like they got it in their dream, but they woke up with it, and then it just like permeated into their real world. So, yeah.
Well, I love that there's a little bit of like the magic school vibe, and then there's the finding a whole new magic system, which is really interesting. And you kind of you basically took the school vibe and aged them up, which I appreciate. But it still had that same like castle full of mystery and hijinks and adventure and stuff, despite the fact that the beginning is very adult in its horror. But I think that it translated super well into that magical realm that you wanted her to vanquish those things. They felt soulless, they felt mindless, but definitely evil. And I have to say that here's another spoiler I don't want to spoil, but the Azimuth henchman that turns into some not henchman, maybe henchman. I love that twist.
Thank you.
For sure, one of my favorite twists. And I love that she had like that tie. And I'm really curious about how all of that plays out. I feel like there's more to what that person could do. And I'm very curious about it.
Yeah.
I was like when there's like a familiar tie and you're like, but why?
Yeah.
Parentage and all that. It's just fun. It's mystery and fun. I also want to take 30 seconds to comment on how you have a Dreamwalker blanket on your bed. And I think Thank
I do. It's my favorite. I had to steal it from my kids, and it's like, look, it's like Sherpa. It's Sherpa lined.
Whoa.
Ooh.
It's on my website along with a map blanket. So the map that's in the book is on a blanket just like this.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
So, yeah.
So I also wanted to talk for a second about your world because there's so many creatures we're familiar with, but it's like nostalgic, a little Lord of the Rings kind of vibe with like dwarves and elves and fae. And I love that you had so many different colored skins and cultures that felt really real with your characters. And so I wanted to know, like, what kind of like cultures or stories or pieces of fiction did you use that are like, what are your favorites to really incorporate, and why did you choose to do those?
So when I was writing this, I really had Harry Potter in mind because I wanted Dreamwalker to feel nostalgic, in that my hope for Dreamwalker was that people of any age could read it and appreciate it the way that people of all ages read Harry Potter and could appreciate the story, even though the main character was 11 in the first book. Adults are reading Harry Potter, enjoying the story. And I'm a very plot-driven author. So when I was writing, I wanted it to feel nostalgic of Harry Potter. So that was a big one. And actually, while I was writing, I had the movie The Hobbit on repeat. Like, my husband would come home and The Hobbit would be on, and he's like, "Oh, you're writing." And I'm talking like it would end and I would start it over. And I'm talking like all three movies, like The Hobbit.
I was gonna say, you're only just watching the first.
Yeah.
There's like 7 more hours of
Yeah,
television.
so all three Hobbit movies, and I wouldn't even watch them. They would just be on in the background.
What's a sweet soundtrack to write
Yeah.
to?
Mm-hmm.
So that, and all the stories that I love, like I love grim fairy tales, and I love I read Twilight, which is what I was kind of thinking of with Cole and Ethan. You know what I mean? That love triangle of like, I don't know who I want her to be with. And I wanted to try to bring that out. So I was really thinking about all the books that I loved to read when I was an upper YA. And I really wanted to bring those in and put them into one space.
I think you did a really good job.
Thank you.
Definitely accomplished that for sure, because it felt very nostalgic, especially in the creatures to me.
Cool.
And the hijinks that the trio always seemed to get up to.
Yeah.
It's that McGonagall moment where she's like, "Why is it always you three?"
Right. Right. Yeah.
And I really like that, because I like that it wasn't like any one particular niche. It was just kind of a cohesive world that was just really fun to be a part of.
Thank you.
And I guess that leads to my next question. Why did you choose Close the Door?
Because it's YA. Because it's YA, and I wanted it to be something that I could bring into my high school and have my high school students feel confident that I could put it in my classroom library. And for the rest of the series, I plan on having the rest of the series be closed door, specifically because you think of Gremlin. Cadence, get out. Why? Okay, well, tell them I'm thank you.
And I don't mean that in a negative way. I'm just curious about, because I think it's a very conscious choice authors make.
So I wanted it to so for example, like ACOTAR, right? So ACOTAR starts out like YA, but then over the series it becomes not YA. And I find that a little bit frustrating because, me as a parent, if my child is reading ACOTAR, but then they want to know what happens in the rest of the series, but I'm just like, I don't know how I feel about you reading that.
Mommy doesn't know.
Right. I don't want parents to feel that way about Dreamwalker, and I want them to feel secure in that what the book that I've written for their child to read is going to be one that they would approve of. Because then in Unbound, that's going to be an adult romantasy. So that'll be open door. So I wanted to keep it YA. The entire thing is going to be YA. The entire thing is going to be closed door. And that way it's consistent. So that way you don't pick up book 3, think it's going to be closed door, and then all of a sudden, bam, there's a
movement happening. Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, yeah.
Well, I think that makes it more timeless, and that any generation will read it. anybody, like it really is anybody could, versus I feel like when you do have open door stuff, it kind of pigeonholes it a little bit.
Right. And I wanted to be able to market to everybody, you know, and that's why I want my series, like I want Dreamwalker to be YA, I want Unbound to be adult. You know, I have another one that I'm planning on, the main characters being in their 30s. So that way I have something for everyone. That way it doesn't limit my like availability.
I like that. I think it works really well.
Thank
I
you.
didn't miss it. I didn't think it was something that was necessary. I thought it worked with your storyline, and that she's very young, and that's
the other thing. That's the other thing. Like things that I can't stand is when you have young characters and then they do these adult things, and you're like, okay, but
yeah, am I supposed to be lusting after a 17-year-old child?
Right.
Yeah, that's uncomfortable. Yeah.
Right. You know, and listen, it's I'm a parent, you know what I mean? I'm a parent. My oldest is 15. So I know what things happen. I mean, I remember when I was 15, 16, 17, 18, you know what I mean? So it's like it happens, and I don't want to completely dismiss it, but I also don't want to glorify it in the sense that it's something that they need to do in order to be something else. You know what I mean? So yeah, I just wanted to keep it.
No, I think it was a good choice.
That makes sense.
Thank you.
And it makes a lot of sense. So I also have a note here where I loved that you had like I love when you have like magical characters enter our realm and they have to kind of see it, we get to see it through their eyes, and you had like the carriage without a horse and the real tour. I thought those were very cute moments. And I wanted to see if there were like, do you have more moments like that that you cut out, that you were like experimenting with and how they were seeing our world?
So I was considering how long they were going to be staying in the mortal world, but logistically it just doesn't make sense because they have so much that they left in the astral realm. But Ella and Ian did need to get back to the mortal world because they had things to finish there. And with the hero's journey, one of the reasons why I had them specifically go back is because Ella needed that book to be closed for her. You know, she needed to go and she needed to have the closure, and she needed to say goodbye to their parents, and she needed to say goodbye to her human life because ultimately that is over, you know? So she needed that book to be shut. But I think my favorite is when Rhea says something about having the servants bring food or something like that. Like, oh, like your servants are here. Like,
I think it was a pizza delivery person,
yeah,
right?
it was a pizza delivery person. Yeah.
That was really clever.
I also wanted to add a little bit of humor to such a dark, you know, to such a sad time. Like when I was writing that last chapter, I was sobbing.
Well, I
Especially
wanted to ask you about that because it seems really emotional, especially with her friend in that moment in which her that is ultimate closed. Like, closure, and that she is leaving that completely behind, and she didn't even get the chance to do things. And I don't want to, but like that was very emotional, and so I wanted to know like what kind of emotional things you like to bring to your books, because like Maggie and I were speaking earlier, and we're like, we want to rip people's heart out and stomp on it. So I want to know like what kind of emotion do you like as an author in your books?
I definitely like to have confusion where I want readers to be torn between what to do and what path to take and who to choose, you know, and then I also want them to feel obviously what the character is feeling, you know, and I don't necessarily like when one of the characters died, I was surprised that they died when I was writing it. I was so right. I was surprised. And it was funny because I was sitting on my couch in the living room and I was like, when it hit, I was like, oh. And then my husband was like, what's the matter? What is it? And I was like, they're gonna die. And then my daughter came up and she was like, Mommy, you're writing it. Just let them live. And I was like, it doesn't work that way. I was like, I don't know what to tell you. They're gonna die. Right. Like, so I mean, I really was just as I was really just as surprised as readers were when that happened. Cause then I was like it just did, and then be forewarned, because in Unbound, a similar thing, happens where I'm surprised about the things that the characters do. And I'm like, but it just makes sense. Like, why?
Well, since you took that off the table and you George R. Martin us all, I was really curious about Rhea and how she was going to survive that whole moment for her, because I was like, she's already killing people off. So I was like on my e-reader, like tap, 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 just alive.
Yeah, it's and that's the other thing is like I'm always torn, because I want to keep people on their toes, but I also want it to make sense within the plot. You know what I mean? So like, I'm not opposed to killing characters, even main characters, in the grand scheme of things, if it makes sense within the plot. And if the character is doing stupid stuff and they die because it's their fault, like, that just makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, come on, like, don't do stupid things and then you won't die.
Your world, you can do what you want.
No, they take over. They do what they want. Listen, I'm a puppet. They are the puppeteer. Okay.
Oh, so she might get with Ethan in the end. All things are on the table. We don't know.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So that leads into my other question for you. And I feel like I'm going to say their name incorrectly. Is it Bufferia?
So when I was writing, I said Bufira.
Bufira.
Yeah, Bufira.
Okay, all right. So I have a question. Who is everyone's favorite and why is it Bufira? Because she's easily my favorite of the whole book. I know I said Ethan, which I also love, because I love A God of Death villain story is my favorite, but she's so cool. And I was like, if you're not doing an Ethan novella, I need that novella. I need to know, how in the world does she get out here reading minds and futures and doing stuff? Like, she's just cool.
Yeah, she's super cool. And I think I shared character art. I had character art done of her, and like, she's beautiful. Like, her skin is like pale blue, and it's like covered in moss and flowers. And because I really wanted, so the people of Slavendale are like from the earth, so they could just meld into the trees and stand still, close their eyes, and like, you wouldn't even know that they were there. Like, I wanted them to be like part of the land.
That just makes her cooler, and I just need more of her story. I think she's really, really cool. She has bog witch energy, and I love it so much.
So we mild spoiler for Dream Chaser. We get to see one of Bafir's relatives as a main character.
Oh, good.
Love that.
Love that. All right. So my question to everybody is, who's your favorite character? Why is it your favorite character? If you pick Cole, it's low-hanging fruit. But what? Who is everyone's favorite?
Shut up, Anna. It's Cole, okay? I will read that book over and over again.
Orion's so good.
Orion, that was the other one. Yeah.
I think Orion's my favorite because I just love that dry humor. He just is. He's like, I'm not even gonna get into it.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted him to have like old man energy. Like, hey, you kids, get off my lawn. Like, I wanted him to have like that kind of energy.
Yes.
Can the answer to this question just simply be yes? I don't want to choose. I love all of them.
Oh. I like Rhea. I like Rhea a lot too. I loved writing Rhea.
It's fun.
I mean, I like Xander, but we know what happened there. That didn't
I'm
turn out.
so sad.
I'm just always a side character fan, and no one reading a Brittany Gossin not to expect that.
And then like at the end of like that chapter, it's like I wrote like something like, and then like the star shot across the sky, and like Xander was like going home. I was just like, that got me in the feels.
I loved that.
I love that. So cute. Like I said, the cultures are like so cool.
Mhm.
It was just really, I really like that part. I thought it was very magical, and it did read very Harry Pottery in that it was like just a kid's whirlwind adventure and hijinks and a fun world to explore. And
Yeah.
we all love Harry Potter, so we love your book.
Thank you. I
So
love Harry Potter too.
in the last little bit here, we like to give you the opportunity to ask us questions if you have them.
Oh, how many of you were surprised about?
Careful, Jessica's only 40% in.
Has she been? Oh, she's been spoiled already.
Oh, so how many of you were actually surprised about that? About the big plot twist?
I have to admit, I was not surprised.
Okay.
I expected that very heavily.
Okay.
I did not in the slightest. I read it at like 1:00 in the morning, and so I started shouting like, "What the hell? What?" I threw a pillow, across like from my bed. I threw it against the wall, and I had people asking if I was okay, and I was like, no, I'm not, because this author, I imagine her sitting, like sipping a mug of her reader's tears, next to a roaring fireplace where she's burning her hearts alive and just like cackling.
I didn't really catch on until, like, I knew that there was something up, but I kind of thought that maybe he was like coerced into working for Azimuth. Yeah, I was still holding out hope that there was redemption there.
I thought he was a supporter. I swore he was just a supporter.
Yeah.
Damn it, Brittany. Damn it.
I started suspecting. I didn't catch on to the exact twist. So when that hit, I was like, oh, but again, sorry about spoilers, but I was definitely suspecting that he was not on Ella's side after that scene in the library where, you know, what happened after they got in, and I was like, okay, all right, sir, I see you.
Yes.
So I read a book right before I read Dreamwalker that I think is on our list later on in the year. And so after that book, I was on high alert for everything. I didn't trust anyone. I was like, no, everyone's suspicious. Trust no one.
That's right. Love that.
I thought it was Cole for a while.
I wondered that too.
Mm-hmm. I did too.
Yeah.
Good.
For me, though, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I wanted you to suspect Cole a little bit. Just have that like little sneaking suspicion, like maybe.
It's just because he's too good. He's like too pure. And so with the rest of the story being a little darker, I was like,
we still don't know everything about him though.
He's still suspicious, right, Laura? Like
there's still something.
Got something.
I had a weird theory about who Azimuth was. I thought Azimuth was like Ella's father. Like he didn't actually die. I thought like he became Azimuth.
Oh, okay. That's a good theory.
Yeah. Cool plot twist. And then she cures him and fixes it and everything's fine. Oh, but if she's kissing her dad,
right. Well, no, like
yeah, we can't have that. We can't do that. I don't condone that.
Wait,
her dad is the most gorgeous man you've ever seen.
What?
For me, I had my suspicions, but it solidified when they went to go they went to go help the attack on that one village, and when she ran off into the forest and he wasn't beside her anymore, I was like, that's suspicious.
After he was like forcing her face into a kiss in the field, because that was like my like, ooh, that's not good.
Yeah.
And plus Cole was suspicious of him, and Cole was like the shining guiding post.
My favorite Cole line is, "I don't like that guy," because he says it like a million. You're like, you don't like anybody.
Yes.
Like, you don't like anyone. Like you say this all the time. Like I don't like that guy. I don't like that guy.
Well, we all were suspicious because we knew that Cole was into Ella, and so you're like, you're not gonna like it, guys. That makes sense. Oh my gosh, the way my stomach just bottomed out when I was suspicious that he was with that other girl, the healer or something, and I was like, no. I'm not Team Cole, but no. Like, I can't. Oh my god. That, like, you're always gonna get me a little jealous moment. You're always gonna get me. Because then I was like, my heart says Cole, my brain says Ethan.
Right.
Because when that happened, no, not our girl.
See, and that's what I really wanted to do, was have that, like, my heart says one thing, my head says another. Like, I don't know who, because I see the issues here, and like, but you know what I mean? And then like, he's so good, but like, I wanted readers to really focus on that but, and not,
That
you
butt.
know,
That butt.
does Cole have backstory beef with Ethan? They're both older. So Cole is from the realm of Fae. So Cole is from Fae, and Ethan is from the astral realm, and they hadn't previously met. But we will learn a lot more about the realm of Fae in a separate duology that I have planned.
What?
Someone has asked what you have planned for this universe and what's next for your books already, but I've been putting it off until now.
So overall, they obviously have to go seek the different elemental stones, because the only way to destroy Azimuth for good is to get all 5 elemental stones to destroy the Ebon Orb. So I'm planning each book. So book 2 will focus on the water stone. Book 3 will be another stone. One book will have 2 stones in it, because remember, not only does Ella have to get these stones, but spoiler, she has to claim her throne. So, you know, she has like all of these things and she has all of these conflicts. Yeah, they gotta Thanos it. Yeah. Yep. And so she has all of these conflicts that she has to go through, but I'm excited for book 2 because there's another like twist in there that adds conflict that when I thought of, I was like, oh snap. I was like, what are they gonna do? How are they gonna get out of this one? Like, so yeah. And then some fun. So do you guys remember when Cole was saying about why Bastion doesn't like humans?
Mm-hmm.
The dragon?
Right. So there's like a war between humans and dragons in Dragonflight. So that's what Unbound is about, is the war between dragons and humans and how that came to be.
Oh, it's the same universe?
It's a multiverse.
So it's a prequel.
Yes. Yeah, so it's a multiverse. So if you read Unbound, you're going to find Dreamwalker Easter eggs.
Ooh.
Yes.
My Kindle keeps advertising it to me.
No way.
It's I was going to send you a
That's
picture a few days ago.
Oh, snap. That's cool.
If I open my Kindle right now, it'll be up, and it says more by author Brittany Gossin.
No freaking
and your
way.
cover is on there. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I stayed with the same cover artist, but so Unbound is going to be a duology, and then there's also going to be a novella about one of the main characters. But it is about the how dragons and humans, you know, the war that because the humans are trying to keep the dragons locked up and chained, and so it's, you know, it's about that. So we won't see Bastion. We won't see, you know, any of the Dreamwalker characters, but there's definitely Easter eggs. Like there is a mention of Ella's father in Unbound.
Ooh.
Yes. And for future Dreamwalker books, just because Unbound happened before Dreamwalker does not mean that Ella can't time travel with a portal.
What?
Interesting.
Yeah. So Big plans. Big plans.
I won't even ask for a timeline on that. That's a lot of stuff.
It is. It is. I think it's like, I think I have 10 books planned between Dreamwalker, Unbound, and then the other duology and the novellas.
Wow.
How do you keep
I'm
them
gonna need
all?
a Brittany shelf.
What?
I'm definitely gonna need a Brittany shelf. There's too many good books. I'm so excited.
My agent literally asked me for the timeline, and I was like, I text Maggie. I text Maggie and Reedy. I was like, what? I was like, how? I was like, okay. And then she asked me for a synopsis of all of the books, all of them. And I was just like, okay. I was like, we'll figure this. I guess I'm going to figure this out right now. Like, that's fine. No pressure.
Oh my
Yeah, I was gonna ask, how do you keep them all like separate in your mind? Like, no, that's not that book. Especially if you're writing like a multiverse, right?
Yeah, I'm planning on, it's going to be like Dreamwalker, then Unbound, and then Dream Chaser, and then I'm hopefully going to be publishing a book every 6 months. So it's like, it's going to be Dreamwalker, Unbound, novella, Dreamwalker, and then the Fae duology, and then Dreamwalker, and then the Fae duology. And then the final book in Dreamwalker will probably tie everything together.
So you're busy for like the next 10 years. You got some.
I think I have it. I think I have me finishing everything by 2028.
Oh my God.
Nice.
Well, we got in on the ground floor. That's all I got to say about that.
I'm crazy. I really am. Dreamwalker took me 3 months to write. Unbound took me 3 months to write. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
I mean, that's
Huge.
It's just a lot of cocaine. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Entirely kidding.
So then, while we do the PR box stuff, Laura, Brittany, will you tell us what you have planned? What's good? Like, what's going on that you want to share with us?
So there may be a announcement coming out in Publishers Marketplace.
What? Congratulations! Maybe, I don't know because I haven't seen it. But good.
So my agent sent it to Publishers Marketplace. So I am excited to see that get like,
Yay!
out. Yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah. So it's good. And then we're going to be submitting Unbound to publishers to maybe get trad published. But if it doesn't get picked up, I don't care, and I'll just self-publish, which is always my plan anyway. So like if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So, but yeah. So some exciting things.
Congratulations. It's amazing.
Thank you.
And then, did I hear you have conventions lined up
Oh
or
my
book
God.
signings?
I have so many conventions lined up. I can't keep. Rini, what are my conventions? Because
So she's like, let me tape them all out.
yeah, I think I'm going to like 5 or 6 different places in 2025. I have 2 coming up. I'll be in Pittsburgh at the end of September, and then the following weekend, the first weekend of October, I'll be in Saratoga Springs, New York. Yeah.
Wait, which con are you going to in Pittsburgh? Because I think I know.
Steel City, Authors in Steel City.
It's not the one I heard about.
Yeah, Authors in Steel City. Yeah, and then in 2025, I'm gonna go. Yeah, it's only one day. The one in Pittsburgh is only one day. It's a Saturday, so it's smaller. And then in 2025, I'm gonna invade Maggie's house, and I'm gonna go stay with her when I go to Chicago. And then, and then I'm going to Chicago, Dallas, Arizona, Windsor, Canada, DC like twice, North Jersey. I think that's it.
Did you say Arizona? That's plenty.
Yeah, I said Arizona. Yeah, it's more than plenty. I know. And then somebody messaged me about going to another one, and I was like, I'm tapped out. Tapped out. White flag. White flag. Well, there's so much fun. If anybody, the only one that I've ever gone to is Imaginarium. Yay! Oh, yes. So, real quick side note. So my husband, I was having like a day yesterday. Like I was like down and I was just having a high anxiety day, high stress day. And I was talking to my husband. My husband looked at me and he was like, Brittany, like dead serious. He was like, don't let the nightmares win. And then I started crying.
That's
like,
so
you're
cute.
so right.
Oh my goodness.
Well, Laura, will you tell us what who won
Yeah.
and what they're winning?
Okay, so we are getting this beautiful bookmark that was handmade. Oh, there you can see it. Has Orion on it. Look how cute it is.
Love it.
This is by Brown Sugar and Sass. We have a Dark Academia candle from Apothecary 19. And we have Cliche Teas, Found Family. And then, as always, we have a signed copy of the book and a little bookmark and some other little fun things and some stickers and all that good stuff. All
Thank
right.
you to everyone who did that.
Yes, and that was provided by Brittany. Thank you so much.
Of course. Anything for all of you.
Anything. All right, so our lovely winner today is number 4. That is, who was number 4?
Was that me?
I think it is you, Mary.
That's Mary. Mary, you won!
Yay! Thank you. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Well,
I
does
get to
anyone
send you something, Mary?
does anyone have anything they wanted to ask Brittany before we go?
I have
Or
one.
anyone else? Sorry,
I
Evelyn.
have one. If
Holly?
that's okay.
Tomato basil. Tomato basil.
Actually, it's a different one. I came up with a different one. I got.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you'd be proud. Okay. So, what is one really random fact about one of your characters that has nothing to do with the story, but like you just know it?
Oh. I'm trying to think. Okay, this doesn't have anything to do with the story, and I kind of allude to it, but Ella's favorite place is her bed, and
Relatable.
Ryan secretly likes belly rubs. That's funny, and Ella wants like just her pillow is like perfectly molded to her head. That anything else is completely insufficient. Yes, and
Love it.
Cole is allergic to peanut butter.
Oh.
I just made that up. You're welcome.
Don't tell us.
Flag.
Literally
He said he was Well, thank you for this.
said Orion likes belly rubs. I'm sorry. I'm literally crying over.
Thank you so
Maybe
much
I'll
for
add that
sharing.
in. Maybe that'll be maybe I'll add that into Dream Chaser, and all of you in here will be the only ones who know where that originated.
Please do.
I love it.
Maybe it'll be the running joke. Did you say
Oh my god, I'm gonna do it. Oh my god, I'm gonna do it. Both. That Cole's allergic to peanut butter and Orion loves belly rubs. And then in the acknowledgements, I'll be like, indie romanticy, like you know who you are. You know what this is.
Amazing.
I'll be looking forward to it.
We'll be looking out for it.
Good.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Brittany. It was awesome to have you
Oh, thank
tonight.
you guys.
And we'll keep up with your journey in our chat and everything, of course.
Yeah,
but
thank
so
you. I
awesome.
really appreciate you guys reading and having me.
Of course. Have an awesome night, and I'll see everybody at 7:15 for Vermillion if you're joining us.
Okay.
Love you, Britt.
Bye.
Bye.